How would you tell a girl you don't like her armpit hair she recently started letting grow out? I should have prefaced this by saying it is indeed a significant other. Final edit. Wow, some people got super mad and thought I was going to police my girl's body, was just asking how to bring up a preference, more or less XD. I'm bored, let's go shave our armpits. If it's your significant other, then have a regular adult conversation about it and they can listen and share and you can come to an understanding. Or you don't and it's her body and you can decide if that's going to be an ongoing problem for you and go from there. You might ask them why they've been growing it out, if it's permanent or temporary, etc. And you can express how you don't find it appealing. If it's not a significant other, then you don't tell them anything. I would phrase it in a way that lets her know you find it attractive when it's smooth/shaved, rather than saying you don't like her armpit hair. Focus on the positive emo. Girl here. I actually didn't realize my own was growing out. I was struggling with severe depression and desperately started climbing out of that hole. My boyfriend waited until I had a better mindset to relieve his question of have you been growing it out purposely? It's your body either way, I just have the preference of them shaved. And I responded with a laugh and a little subtle embarrassment that I hadn't even noticed. Shaved that day. Definitely start by asking her questions about it. Calmly. If she is purposely doing it or not, the response should be as calm as your respectful question. If it isn't, well then you did what you could and it's your choice if it's something you can live with. And don't feel guilty for having that preference. Plenty of women have deal-breaking preferences. One of mine is the stache or face tattoos. I just can't get past it. And I'm not a bad person for that. Don't let anyone make that a double standard for you. Smiling face with smiling eyes. Hope I helped. Actually, as a woman I've been on the other side of this. Started growing my armpit hair out. No particular reason, just got bored of shaving it all the time. Boyfriend expressed an opinion to me that he didn't find it attractive. But he also made a point of saying A, he couldn't really say why it was unappealing, it just was, and B, it was kinda ridiculous that society has an expectation on women but not on men, so it's weird that something natural to both of us is only deemed unattractive on one of us. Anyway, from then on I started shaving again. Because I appreciated his honesty and the fact that he recognized the illogical nature of it. Now it's just something small I can do that makes him happy, that doesn't bother me either way. This should be asked to women, not to men. A lot of people are recommending to say it directly, like I don't like your armpit hair, with some also saying that it's up to the girl to decide if she's going to care. But I can tell you right now, it's not much of a choice. One remark like that can make a girl really self-conscious, and telling her straight out with no preparation that you find something about her repulsive will make her feel bad. Those remarks chip away at self-esteem and trust so easily, and can really damage how secure the girl feels in a relationship. I know that guys prefer things to be said directly, and maybe some guys don't mind as much about changing things for their partners. But that's not the case for everyone, especially not for women. So if you do bring it up, please don't just blurt out I don't like your armpit hair. As some people suggested, ask her calmly and non-judgmentally if she changed her preference about her body hair, and let her know kindly that you are just not used to it yet. But be ready for her not changing it for you. And while you're still figuring it out, don't make her feel bad or repulsive. P.S. I rephrased the first line from "this should be posted on Ask Women," not Ask Men, to "this should be asked to women, not to men," as I was made aware that OP tried posting on Ask Women and was met with a negative response and the post taken down. OP, I'm sorry about that. I hope there can be a different community of women where you could ask these questions. However, I stand by my recommendation to ask women about issues affecting women's feelings, not men. 2 scenarios. 1. If this is a girl you are dating, I would just tell her that I find it unattractive. It's up to her whether she cares about what I find attractive enough to change it. 2. If this is literally any other girl on the planet, there is no reason to tell her this. You have no relationship with her armpit. Just go on not liking it by your lonesome. I'm a woman and just kind of stopped shaving for a bit, a little lazy, a little depressed, a little it's just winter time and I don't really care, and it got semi-long. My boyfriend made it known that he wasn't attracted to it, which is fine, everyone can have their preferences. But he said that it is disgusting and unnatural. I told him it's not unnatural since it's obviously happening, and how is my 1/4 long hair more disgusting than his clumpy, over 1 long hair that has deodorant chunks in it? He stood his ground and I still refuse to shave my armpits. BC I'm petty until he just says that it's not his preference and doesn't use such aggressive language. So maybe don't do it that way. I don't like your armpit hair. Shave your own. I started growing mine out after I got a bad abscess in my armpit as a result of shaving. I'm 34 years old. I've been shaving ever since I hit puberty. Once I reached my 30s, I started getting ingrown hairs that would turn into painful cysts. I would use a fresh razor and it didn't matter. I still kept getting them. Shaving just isn't worth the pain and risk to my health. My husband doesn't care if I do or not. I could be covered from head to toe like a werewolf and that wouldn't change his attraction to me. My health and comfort means more to him. We are married. We are going to go old together. Our bodies are inevitably going to change. We all get old. Wrinkly and someday. In the grand scheme of things, health is important. That's how my husband sees it and so do I. Having preference is okay and we can't help what we like. My advice is this. It's their body and they have the final say on what they do with their body hair. However, perhaps you could reach a compromise. Ask her to at least trim? I'd say that's a pretty good middle ground. Also, you could try to focus on what you do like about your partner. Think about the physical traits you do like. Remember and admire the traits that aren't tied to her physical appearance. Because once you get old and after looks have faded, those other awesome traits and the memories that you've made is what you will have left. As long as you are willing to shave any hair on your body that she doesn't like, feel free to make a request. She is free to decline. She doesn't have to shave her armpits just because you don't like it. So be prepared for that. Definitely bring it up. One of two things will happen. You'll both come to an understanding and compromise, with one, but hopefully both, sides making concessions. Or this is a deal breaker to one, or both, of you. If you can't be attracted to her with body hair, she definitely has the right to know, but for what it's worth, if I had a partner who urgently needed to tell me this, I wouldn't want to be with them either, regardless of if I was actually willing to shave or not. I wouldn't, because it's her body and I'm not a. I've noticed you've been letting your armpit hair grow. See how she reacts. If she's not defensive about it, say politely, "Do you mind keeping it shaved?" That's my preference. If she says no, or if she is hostile when you bring the topic up, then there's not much you can do. You have to decide if you can live with it or not. And any commenters who come in here and try and make you feel like for expressing what turns you on to your partner. It's her body, man. If you hate it, she might not be for you. But remember, it isn't her job to be attractive for you, but rather, whatever makes her feel good. Reminded me of that game show scene. How to start a fight in one sentence. Hey, you guys, wanna fight? In the middle of. Just throw a random bomb. If it's not a significant other, then you don't tell them anything. LOL, I hadn't even considered that this might be an acquaintance or something. Good call differentiating between significant other and just a girl OP knows. I assumed at first it was a so, but his post never really specifies. Would be unfathomably rude to say that to a friend or acquaintance. The way I see it, treat it like hair you have. Have had GFs in the past that have disliked aspects of my beard, like that it's too long and scruffy, too much neck beard, TBF looking back that was a bad look, etc. They brought it up, and I fixed it. We all have to groom ourselves, so there's no harm in bringing it up if it bothers us, but at the end of the day it's the person's decision on whether they want to groom themselves in a way we like. You can deal, or consider it a deal breaker. We all have our preferences, fam, and there's nothing wrong with that. Communi clapping hands sign cat eye and clapping hands sign is clapping hands sign key clapping hands sign. If it's your significant other, then have a regular adult conversation about it. /u/taylornator7, and the other mods, can we please just sticky this phrase at the top of the sub? It's the only correct solution, and people coming here to ask things they should ask there so is infuriating. I get if it's delicate or complicated, but this could be solved with "Hey, I'm not a huge fan of the armpit hair. Would you mind shaving? If not, that's cool." Exactly. Created not debit. Yeah, definitely say something like, "I really prefer your armpits to be smooth, you know, like a baby's bottom." Definitely say that and report back to us, please. I would also add that OP should also consider his own body hair before saying something. It's hypocritical to tell your so you don't like her body hair if you yourself look like a yeti. Some men fail to realize that not all women like body hair. The reason why we don't say anything is because we have been taught by society that it's only acceptable for men to have body hair. We instead look past the hairy chest, arms, legs, back, private area, and monobrow. So your boyfriend shaved the day. My boyfriend waited until I had a better mindset to relieve his question of have you been growing it out purposely? It's your body either way, I just have the preference of them shaved. Your boyfriend is too considerate and logical to be left alive. I did post it there too and it got taken down lol. Woman here, this is the best advice in my opinion. I'm not usually sensitive, but I'd appreciate a gentler approach than if my husband just suddenly announced he hates my armpit hair and then left it up to me to decide if I care. An odd way to phrase that, you have no relationship with her armpit. As if it were possible to have a relationship with just the pits and not the girl otherwise. It's one thing to have a preference for a woman to have shaved pits. It's totally another thing to say an aspect of her body is disgusting or unnatural. I agree with you, I don't get how his long chunky pit hairs don't fall into the disgusting and unnatural category. I'm not typically petty, but I'd definitely not shave until he can have a convo that doesn't involve shaming the state of my armpits. A man uses the word disgusting out loud about any aspect of my body and he loses access to my body permanently. You can express preferences or concerns without being a huge. I remember a guy telling me he likes it shaved down there, so I told him to keep shaving his balls then. I'm not a gorilla, but I'm also not going out of my way to shave off armpit hair when a dude isn't doing the same. Why is my armpit hair gross but his isn't? Mine doesn't even grow as long as most men's armpit hair does. Done and done. Oh okay, I will cut it. I also wanted to tell you that I don't like your. And be very demonstrative about it. I've broke it off with people I've dated in the past for being against my body hair, it grows just as theirs does. Sometimes I'll let it go for weeks, sometimes I want it shaved, but never for my partner, for me. If my significant other, who I like with his beard, shaved his beard, I'd be fine with it. It's his hair, it's his choice. Did he let it grow wild and long and look like a wild mountain man? Yes he did. Did I like it? Nah, not really. Did it change how I look or felt about him in any way, be it big or small? Not at all. Edit. Just to be clear, I'm not shaming OP for having a preference, but to me it sounds like there's no depth to their relationship of a bit of body hair is a turn off for your partner. Hey. Riot. Gotta love whose line. Hey stranger, let's talk about them their pits. I just really don't like what you're doing with your armpit hair. Sir, I asked if you wanted a medium or large. Generally, the closer we are to someone, or the more we love and care about them, the more weight their opinion holds. That can also make said opinions sting a bit more. I do not give a f what anyone has to say about my body hair or whatever other superficial BS, except my husband. So, if I read you correctly, I should slap people in between words? Yes? I think that's the whole point of this sub, is that people want to have an adult conversation, but don't always know how to phrase things. I think it's okay to ask people for help when you're not sure what words to use, not everyone is a poet. What's to bit? Like Debbie Downer? Yeah, my husband likes it shaved too. Armpits, check, no problem. I don't like armpit hair. Legs, met, got very blonde soft hair, only in the summer when it's a dandelion fuzz if I don't shave and everything can see because my hair grows in a 90-degree angle. Otherwise before date night or something in the winter. Pubes, I'll keep it short, but I hate itching in my nether regions and always get ingrown hair and it just takes me a lot of energy. I also don't like the prepubescent thing. So once in a blue moon everything goes off, but otherwise just short. It's also blonde and not a lot, so nothing outside of bikini briefs without effort. He tried to shave to set a good example, but I don't like the itching stub bells when we cuddle. I prefer hair, although short down under. So, yeah. I sometimes do the effort to make him happy, a treat so to say. But it's really not my thing to keep it all 12 years and 3 kids perfectly in order. It's something we did discuss, and when I told him some things were too much effort for every day, he just was like, so then I know you do it all for me when on special days and that's extra sexy. TLDR, just talk about it. My fiancée likes me with a beard. She expects me to keep a beard but she won't grow one herself. Truly the most toxic relationship, simming my head, pensive face pensive face pensive face. LOL, dad jokes on r/ask men. Of course it did, LOL. Ha 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 ha. Sounds about right. Unsurprising. It had absolutely zero chance of staying alive. Nobody can ask there. Not surprising. I don't think they allow questions anymore. You if it's just the latte that'll be $2.71 sir. And sometimes mid-word. Don't forget that, it's important. Women, why are forearms arms the sexist? Repeat 3 times a week. Yup. No sense getting hairy about it. Okay. I'll show myself out. Where do you get lats at 2.71? From the girl with armpit hair that sheds like a cat.